Hi, and welcome to Beer Grilled Skinny, where a mother-daughter duo embraces the random. I'm the daughter. My name is Lori Ann.
And I'm the mom, Justine.
Today, we're going to talk about...
Let me run with this.
Okay.
I was thinking the other day about our business trip to Mexico when you were how old?
Okay, first I'm going to stop you. It was not a business trip. We already discussed this.
Oh, okay.
It was just a trip with people that you worked with.
Okay.
Which I think is a significant difference.
All right.
But I was 14.
Okay.
And I remember it very vividly.
Yes. You had, you had a lot of experiences. And when I'm looking back on it, I'm thinking it was my trip to Mexico, first time out of the country. And, I was kind of in a daze. And
I don't know why. Why would you be in a daze for going out of the country?
It was new. I was always, I used to get an upset stomach over new stuff, so I can't remember what they called it, but a doctor once told me that every time I tried something new, I was going to have problems with my stomach. I don't think I had problems with my stomach that trip, but I did, I have to keep my eyes open.
I had trouble with my stomach because I ate everything that was available. We were allowed to order stuff from... Well, let me start at the beginning. We got down there, and the motel that we had booked, this was a trip with the company that my mom worked for, a small business. They just decided we were all going to go to Mexico.
Yeah, we closed up shop.
Not everyone came, but a good number of people came. And when we got there, our motels were not ready. So they put us up in this really fancy hotel right on the beach. We were in Cancun, Mexico.
I know.
And these hotels were gorgeous. I don't remember why I was saying that part. You were saying that it was something new.
It was something new and exciting. It was so exciting. But, being a mother, had to be concerned about how everything was with you. And
you did a bang-up job of that, which we'll get into momentarily.
Yeah.
You guys, this is quite the story. Please stick with us.
We, you put people together who've never really lived together. They've just worked together. And then you begin to learn things about them. One of my dear friends was a smoker. And that...
Ginger.
Yeah, Ginger.
She was a wild woman.
Wasn't she a wild woman? And so funny.
How did she end up working there? Did you bring her in?
Yeah.
Where did you know her from?
I don't know.
I think you worked with her in a hospital?
I might have.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to think back on that. But, yeah, she was a wild woman. There was one time at work where she was outside, and she was doing a little bit of stuff. The offices was in a house, and so she was doing some work outside. And
okay, I'm sorry, I have to stop you. The offices were in a house, not was in a house.
Were in a house, okay. And a bee got in her jumpsuit, and she took the thing off right there in the yard.
I would too.
I don't care who sees me, I'm done. Anyhow, she was one of the ones that went with us.
I remember that place, by the way. There was a shed.
Yeah.
And I was assigned to clean it at one point. I was a slave, y'all.
Yeah.
And while I was cleaning it, I got introduced to this thing called the jumping spider.
Yeah.
And I ran out of that place screaming.
It wasn't a shed. It was another little house on the property.
Whatever it was,
we
had needed attention.
Into other businesses. So, anyhow, we get to Mexico, and I'm watching everybody. I'm wanting to act appropriately.
Oh, let me interrupt you. I want to let all of you know that none of the names on here are actually the real names. We're using pseudonyms because the events are real, and most of these people are still alive. One of them, Ginger, is not alive, but everyone else is still alive, and we don't want to get sued because there's quite some spicy material on this trip.
Yeah.
Our names are real, however. Just letting you know.
So we find out that there's certain food that if some of us eat, I think it was my first time ever having goat. Isn't that what your burgers were out of?
Yeah, no one liked the goat but me.
Yeah.
A sign of things to come because I ended up marrying a man who hunts goat and makes the best goat curry on the planet. Okay. I'm just saying.
Well, these were burgers.
And everyone thought I was weird. I was 14. I'm like scarfing down these goat burgers, like, yeah, baby.
Yeah, so we would get out, explore, walk the streets of Cancun, go downtown where, met a guy that had a business and he was just fascinated with what snow might be like. And we came back and needed to take showers. And
oh, let's not get into the shower thing yet. We'll save that for a bit. Remember when we went to that restaurant where I ordered octopus and hated it? But then this guy came up. It was an open-air restaurant, and we were out on the patio. And, again, I was 14. This guy came up to sell me a sweater. And my mom told me I couldn't spend more than $20. And so I negotiated. And I don't know if y'all know how Mexicans negotiate, but they negotiate hard. But when you have a limit, when you're like, I really can't spend more than this, they will come down to that limit. And I ended up with that sweater, and I still have it to this day.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And it was way better than the octopus salad, let me tell you.
I didn't realize you felt that strongly about that salad.
They boiled the octopus and stuck it on a salad. It was gross.
Okay. I
was on the verge of crying.
But I don't know what it was.
Well, you didn't even want to taste the octopus, so I don't know why you'd be talking about me feeling passionate.
Because you kind of will try anything most of the time.
Well, no. Back then, I was all into the sugar. The try anything started when I got married.
Oh, okay. All right. We found incredible deals. Like you see something you want, a piece of jewelry that's unique, and you've got a little calculator, a manual calculator, and you can trade it for the jewelry because they didn't have access to that kind of thing. And so we took a trip to Chichen Itza, and
Chichen Itza, which was featured in a movie. I'm trying to remember the movie. Who was in that? Was it that guy? You know who I'm talking about.
I do.
Well, y'all can look it up. Phil Collins did a video about it, and it showed so many of the places that we saw, and it was, a tale of heartbreak and woe. Jeff Bridges.
Yes.
Look up Jeff Bridges and find the movie where he was in Mexico.
Yeah.
And the Phil Collins song is awesome. I recommend the Phil Collins song. Don't so much recommend the movie.
And so
but we were at all of those places.
Yeah. We were walking through the jungle, and it was hot. I mean, sweltering hot. And I looked at you and I said, I'm going to pray for rain. And I prayed for rain, and it started raining. And everybody got all upset with me.
I love how you take all the credit for that. I was the one that prayed for rain.
I prayed for rain.
No, you didn't. Remember that time when we were living in the trailer park and I went outside and did a rain dance? And so I'd dance and it would rain, and then I would dance and it would stop, and then I would dance and it would rain again. And I realized, everyone, that this is probably a coincidence. But I was the one who prayed for the rain.
Oh, you do have that Indian
Mom
blood in you.
told me to pray for the rain. I don't know why she's turned this into she prayed for the rain. Talk about stolen valor. So we all got wet, and they got upset, while not believing that our prayer had anything to do with it. So there's some weirdness.
Why are you upset
if we didn't have any control over it, then what are you upset about? Why are you mad at us? So then we got to this little spot before the temples, and they sold Orange Crush, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Best Orange Crush of my life. It did not quench my thirst because it's pretty much just slugging down sugar down your throat.
But it was cold.
It was cold. It was delightful. And we were kind of fed up with our group by this time because, okay, so here's a random story from that trip. Okay, we had, I think, 7 adults? 6 adults?
Yeah, 7. No, 6, because the son of one of the people came.
Okay, so a friend of ours with our pseudonym named Hannah, her son was named Neil in this story. They were Lebanese descent, and for some reason, everyone thought he and I should get together. He and I didn't think that, but they were just on this mission to, it would be so cute. We were on a mission to just get through this trip. He later turned out to be gay, and so that's why that didn't work out. I didn't find him attractive. I mean, objectively, he's very attractive, but I was not attracted to him. I was 14, for crying out loud. I think he was 16. And he was not attracted to me, And we bonded over this fact. We just decided to rebel against the adults and go, I don't know what they're trying to do. We had this moment back at the hotel room when my mother and 3 of the ladies? No, I think it was 4. Ginger, Kitty, Hannah, and Miriam, and my mom. And for some reason, these women decided it would be a fun thing to get into the shower together.
Because it was one of those, really big showers.
I was going to mention that. Okay. Granted, it was a big shower.
Yeah, not a tub, a shower.
But they were all naked, and Neil and I were in the kitchen not knowing what to do. Both of our mothers were involved in this. And these are all people that worked together. So this is the weirdest business trip, quote unquote, that I have ever attended. And I don't know why Mom gave into it, but after she got in there, they wanted to shave her. They were all going to shave each other.
Because they were laughing. You'd think that some of them were drunk, but they weren't. But I think it's...
Are you sure they weren't drunk?
Yeah.
All I know is Neil and I sat in the kitchen. I was on the counter, and we just looked at each other like, what in the world is going on here?
My thinking about it is that people come from different cultures, and some women, they're just like sisters in that sense, and it's not something sexual. It's just girl stuff. But anyhow, they didn't shave me.
I don't know anyone like that, present day, but I will poll my friends, and also anyone that wants to comment on this and say this is perfectly normal. You just let us know. I'm going to say it's not perfectly normal. Another incident from this trip was we went to this wonderful performance of the chicken dance.
Yeah.
And it was just beautiful. And I totally connected with one of the actors because we were sitting in the front row. And when we left, he followed us.
Yeah.
And he was dancing along, and he wanted to take me out because I guess I didn't look 14.
You had the blondest hair and the bluest eyes.
And I was so excited about this idea, and everyone's like, no.
But we did let you walk together.
Oh, aren't you so kind?
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a moment.
Yeah.
It's the first moment where a man or a boy showed interest in me, so I really appreciated that. And we made the joke that I might get kidnapped because I had blonde hair and blue eyes, and we were all confident that they would just kick me back if they kidnapped me because I can be very annoying.
Well, we had that trip out into the jungle, too, when we were just going to explore.
That was when we were headed to Chichen Itza, actually.
Okay.
And we pulled over.
We had soldiers pull us over.
Exactly. But then when we got out, Peter had semi kind of long brown hair and a beard. Mm-hmm. And all these kids just surrounded him because they thought he was Jesus.
Yeah.
Because he looked kind of like Jesus.
They had a casket that was glass enclosing this white man that looked exactly like him. So I can understand that. Yeah.
I had no idea that brown people thought Jesus was white.
Yeah. Well,
there you
I guess
go.
It's all who brought them the message.
Exactly. I mean, nowadays, you're a white supremacist if you think Jesus was white.
Yeah.
I don't know many people that think he's white, but there are still pictures floating around of him being white. I really don't care what color he is, but he's Jewish, so he's going to look probably brown. Although there are a lot of Jewish people that look white.
That's true. I worked for some on Melrose.
You can look at any number of celebrities, actors that look... the guy that played Ross on Friends, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Michael Rappaport. You could go on and on.
Yeah.
So there are white Jewish people, and thus it's not the worst thing in the world to think that Jesus was white. I really don't care what color he is.
I know.
Or isn't. There's some people that want to say he was black. I haven't seen a lot of black Jews, but what do I know?
Yeah.
Anyhow, that was an event.
That was an event. And then it was time to leave.
Oh, that. And by the way, good luck going to Mexico and not getting a ticket. We were going along, and we got pulled over in our little van, and I know we weren't speeding, but they just insisted we were and wrote a ticket.
Yeah.
Back then, this was 1984. I don't know how corrupt they are now. I mean, now they're being run by the drug cartels, but back then it was just police that were corrupt. And so they wrote us this ticket, And back to the whole, we had booked motels
Yeah.
that were not ready. So they put us up in a hotel, and then at the end of it, just as we were checking out to go to the airport, they say, you're going to have to pay extra for having stayed in this hotel. You have to pay the extra. And no, we did not have to pay the extra. They were just trying to shake us down because we were headed to the airport.
And they also said that I had stolen some towels. And I was like, you have to prove this. But yeah, I had the pressure on me to get to the airport.
I know. And Karen, who was one of my mother's bosses, dragged me to the airport.
Yeah.
Now, this woman thought she was going to get me on the plane if Mom didn't show up. And that was definitely not going to happen.
Yeah.
Luckily, it didn't get to that point, but I was sitting there. I had this little sombrero on,
Yeah.
and I was just really freaking out. So I was just sitting there nodding forward, and the hat would bob, and then I would nod side to side, shake my head side to side, and then I would just kept doing this over and over, waiting for my mom to get there. I regretted that I left her at the hotel. I told this woman, I am not getting on the plane without my mother. And she was like, yes, you are. And I'm like, no, I'm not. But again, we didn't have to get to that point because my mom worked it out and showed up at the airport in time.
And I did not pay anything extra.
Which you shouldn't have to pay
know.
anything extra.
I know.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
I remember at one point, one of our friends that was on this trip, Ginger, was a smoker. And I was really fascinated with smoking at this point. And I can't remember where they all went, but they left me alone. So I took a package of her cigarettes, and I didn't just smoke one.
Were you, let me ask you this, were you with us when we had these little jugs around our neck that were filled with tequila?
No, that's where you were.
Yeah.
You were on the beach getting drunk off your ass.
Yeah.
And so I decided to smoke some cigarettes. Yeah. Glorious morality, people. We all learn. We all live and learn. I smoked these cigarettes until I puked because I wasn't very bright. And I thought no one would know. Unfortunately, this woman actually kept track of her cigarettes. And she's like, I'm missing a pack of cigarettes. And I got caught. It was sad. I got in a lot of trouble.
I think she really thought it was cute. But I didn't.
She did, but you didn't. That's why I got in a lot of trouble.
It was a real growing up time, I think, for both of us. I mean, I look back.
And I seem to be the only one that got Montezuma's revenge, and I wonder if it's because of all the goat burgers that I ate.
Yeah.
I got really sick. Ugh. Usually they say the Montezuma's revenge is from the water, but I don't know what kind of water they were using to create the goat burgers. They were delicious, though, by the way. I'm just going to point that out.
There's something in the water that we're just not accustomed to. It's not like a bad thing, but we aren't accustomed to it.
Oh, I don't know who's saying that. I think they are bad. But I remember, you get all mad that I smoke a bunch of cigarettes, and then we go down to the restaurant, and you pour Kahlua all over my ice cream, thinking it might help with the Montezuma's revenge. So we both have our issues with intelligence sometimes.
Yes, we do.
But it was a fascinating trip.
It was.
It was beautiful. Our hotel, you could just see the Caribbean from the hotel. And I got the opportunity to parasail, which I will never forget. It was amazing. A lot of good experiences. Everyone was friendly except for the cops and the soldiers. But overall, it was an amazing
great
trip.
Lounge chairs on the beach that you could lay on, and the weather was perfect.
I know.
You'd get a breeze.
I can't remember. Did my dad get upset that you took me off to Mexico?
No, I had to get his permission.
Oh, okay, so he was fine with it.
Yeah.
Okay, he's occasionally not an a-hole.
Yeah. I know.
So that was the kind of company Mom worked for back in the 80s. Just let you know. Later on, we'll tell you about the trip to San Francisco. But thank you for tuning in. And if you have any comments, please give them to us. Like, subscribe, because that's really going to help our channel, and I would really appreciate it. And we really do want to hear your comments, critical or otherwise. But thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
We conquer our fears with dreams in our hearts and the world in our sight. We're beer grill skinny, ready